So good morning, everyone. We're going to be playing with a blanket today, and we're going to be exploring kind of the lower core in our bodies, hamstrings and glutes, hips, a little bit amongst other things. As I mentioned before hitting the record, I just started a training on core stability and core strength. And I was really impressed that the teacher started with hamstrings, hips, and glutes as the core workshop. So we're going to play there a little bit. And what I really want you to do is tap into how these certain moves feel in your body. So because that's what it's all about, right? It's not whether or not you can lift your leg a certain amount or a certain number of times. It is how it feels in your body and what does it mean to you. And I'll give you some examples along the way. So I want to start with a block and laying down on your back. And the block's going to go between your thighs. It can go either the most narrow or the second width. Just see what feels good to you. And then lay on your back and get yourself all kind of comfy. Not too comfortable though. Not too comfy. All right. And then snuggle so you're just holding on to the block between your thighs and make sure it feels comfortable, that it's not sitting too hard on any of the tendons or ligaments, mostly tendons on the inside of your thighs. And let the shoulders draw down. Whew. In fact, if you have a second block, grab a second block and just set it aside. I forgot about that part. And if you don't worry about it. You don't really need it. I mean, it's nice, but you don't have to have it. All right, so here we are again. Draw the shoulders down toward the floor. Make sure the back of the neck is long, but you're not tucking your chin. The chin should feel pretty level. Like if you could set it on a shelf, more or less, right? It would feel pretty level to you, but don't over exaggerate in either way. Just kind of get a sense of how it feels as your shoulders go to the floor. If you tend to have a lot of rounding in the upper spine, when you lay on the floor, you might find your chin really hiking up. And if that's the case, just put a little blanket or towel underneath your head, nothing too thick, so that you have a more neutral alignment. And then feel the block between your legs. Feel your feet on the floor. And without looking at your feet, maybe turn the toes out for a second and then turn them way in for a second. And turn them out again and turn the toes in. Good. One more. Turn them out and turn them in, and then bring them straight and see if you can feel straight. Don't look, it's not that important, but just see if you can get a sense of where your feet are on your yoga mat. A little tiny squeeze to the block, nothing big, just to keep it in place. Maybe your hands rest on your low belly, elbows to the floor, backs of the arms to the floor. And all of that set up just to take a deep breath. Notice if there is just a tiny space behind your back, behind your lower back. There should be a little space there. Deep breath in. Long, deep breath out. Deep breath in. And a deep breath out. Good. Keep that up. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. One more, your longest yet. Inhale, deep breath. Exhale all the way. And then just normal breathing. And I want you to rock your pelvis up and down again, so that as you press the pelvis away from you, or the pelvic bones away from you, you arch deep into the low back. And as you tuck in, you bring those pelvic bones closer to the ribs. You're tucking and the back goes flat. Don't over exaggerate, just kind of get a sense, right? We're rolling over the sacrum. We think about the sacrum as part of the pelvis, right? The sacrum meets the bones of the pelvis, both at the top, mostly at the top. And it's a really vital part of our bodies for stability, right? The sacrum joins up with the iliums for the sacroiliac joints, where some of us can get unstable. So we're just kind of checking it out. We're rolling forward, rolling back, and seeing where the movement is in our pelvis and what feels good and what doesn't really feel good. If you over exaggerate, it might not feel good. You might start to pinch a little bit. So we're just checking it out. And then come to neutral again, feel your feet again, and squeeze the block maybe 20%. From that block, I want you to just, so at the bottom of the sacrum, right, is your little tailbone, right? A prehistoric little part of us that's still there. I want you to just lift the tailbone away from the floor. What's that doing? It's partially tucking your pelvis. Your sacrum is still on the floor, and I want you to just feel that. So the low belly starts to tone, and then peel more until your sacrum is mostly off the floor as well. You're pressing into your lower back now. You're really pressing down, but you've got a little bit of air movement under the tailbone, under the sacrum. Notice that, right? The belly starts to curl in more. Make sure the shoulders stay down. Don't curl those up in response. And then press into your feet. Keep curling until you just get your low back off the floor. So now I'm sitting on the low ribs, the mid back, right? I'm tucked in pretty hard here. My tailbone, my hips are off the floor. My lower back is off the floor. You could put your hand under there to see, right? And then I want you to pull the heels back and say hello to your hamstrings this morning. Good morning, right? And then release the pull back. Slowly lower down until your lower back is on the floor. You're still tucked. Then release your sacrum. Then release your tailbone, right? Kind of cool. So here we go again. Tuck just the tailbone. I just want you to feel that. You're still laying on your sacrum, and notice how the low abs already engage. Excuse me. And then tuck more until you feel the sacrum starting to move away from the floor. I've not lifted at all. I'm just tucking in. Low back is pressing into the floor. Press into your feet. Start to peel the lower back off the floor and feel that, right? And then press the heels back. Maybe lift the hips a little bit more. So not a true bridge pose. The teacher, the workshop I took called this a half bridge pose. You're looking for a fairly straight line from your knees going down to your shoulders. So we're not doing a big lift of the chest. You've got a tiny squeeze of that block. And then start to peel down. Here's your upper or your lower ribs. Now I'm moving slowly to my lower back. Ooh, there goes the sacrum. Release of the tailbone, and notice how that feels. Move the block out for a second, keep it nearby, and bring your knees to your chest. Keep your right knee in, stretch your left leg nice and long. Good, switch sides, bring the left knee in, any amount that you can, stretch the right. Good, let's do it again. Switch, and switch, little tone to the low belly, and switch. Good, switch again. 2 more, both sides. Bring it in, we're just warming up, stretching out what we did. Last set, here we go, bring it in. Other leg brings it in, good. Grab your block again, place it between your thighs. Grab your other, just make sure you can get to your other block and straighten your legs. Good. So you got a little squeeze on your block. It's between your thighs. Now take the toes out, just like we did before, and squeeze them in. Good. Take them out and squeeze them in. Good. One more. Let them roll out. Let them squeeze in and then find neutral. Imagine that you are standing on the floor. Your feet are flexed. Your big toes are pressing down equally to the floor, the imaginary floor. The legs are now fired up. You're squeezing your block. Grab your other block in your hands and just take it up to the ceiling. Draw the shoulders down. There's a little tone to the low belly. Squeeze your glutes. Ooh, make sure the feet are staying flexed. You're standing on the floor, that imaginary floor. Bend the elbows so that the block just goes behind your head. Keep the elbows tucked in and breathe. How is this feeling? If you're feeling good here, this is all okay. I want you to straighten the arms so they're all the way overhead. You can lay that block any way that makes sense. It's the blocks touching the floor. I'm reaching, the ribs are flaring up. That's okay. The legs are fired up. The feet are flexed. Whew, the glutes are active. And I want you to think of mountain pose with the arms overhead, right? Good. Bring that block back up. Lower it down to your belly. Let it rest. Bend both of your knees and put your feet on the floor. And pause. Your block can rest on your low belly. I want you to tuck your tailbone. Tuck your pelvis. Woo, yeah. Start to lift the lower back off the floor. Press into your feet. Lift the hips, not big, right? Squeeze back through your heels. So the heels are pressing back. Hamstrings are engaged. Glutes are engaged. Breathe. Lower down through the ribs. Lower the lower back. Yep. Lower the sacrum. Release the tailbone. Straighten your legs. Last one here. Grab your block. Take it up to the ceiling, but then drop your shoulders down. Squeeze your belly. Squeeze your legs. Bend the elbows so that that block just rests behind your head. The elbows are trained towards center. Good. Press through your feet. Reach the block overhead if that is okay for your shoulders. Take a really deep breath. If you can, lift the block off the floor a couple of inches. So now we've really engaged the upper body. Find your breath. See if you can lift the legs just an inch. Holy crow. Breathe and let it go. All of it, all of it, all of it. Good. Take that block up to the ceiling. Bend it, set it aside. Bend your knees. Release your other block. Good. Bring your knees to your chest, everybody. Roll over to one side and come on up. Right? So such a little bitty thing that that can really make a difference. So find an easy pose. It might be cross-legged. It might be legs more straight because of your knees or your hips. And inhale, reach up. Exhale, left hand down, right arm over. Good. Inhale, both arms up. Exhale, other side. Breathe. Inhale, center. Exhale, reach over. Stretch inside body. Inhale, up. Exhale, other side. If you were in my last class, we did tons of side body work. One more. Inhale. Exhale. Press your left hand, my right hand. Press your left hand down, reach that right arm over, press down through your right hip and make a big C curve with that side. Don't overdo it, right? Here we are inquiring, right? In the body, feeling it. And then draw the ribs into the side body. Whoo. Take the arm just straight up and press up. Other side, your right hand down, just a simple side stretch to start. Finding that, now press down through your left hip, feel that grounding. Draw the left side ribs in towards center. Yep, take the arm up to the ceiling and press all the way up. Take those arms out to the side and release it and roll it out, everybody. Good. And then grab your blanket. We're going to do one more stretch before we start. And I put the white side up so that maybe you can see it against my feet or against my pants. And make yourself like a little simple roll with your blanket, maybe a little burrito roll with your blanket, and set it in the middle of your mat. And then lay over on one side. Your knees are bent, right? Right. I don't know where that's coming from this morning. So your knees are bent. You're feeling pretty comfortable. Shift the blanket if you need to. And what I want you to do is press your side body into your blanket. Just press it down and then release it. It's really subtle, but you're just squeezing it down and releasing it up. Good. Squeeze it down again and up. Now, the next time you squeeze those ribs down, I want you to notice that the top hip just moved away from the ribs, right? So squeeze it down. Straighten your top leg. Turn your toes straight forward. So hip forward, knee forward, toes forward. Keep your hand on the top hip and lift your top leg any amount without squeezing your waist, right? So this hand on your hip is pushing that hip down and away so you can't go too far. Low belly squeezes in and bottom leg presses to the floor. Here we go. So down. I want you to squeeze straight to the side and down. Good. And up. We got 7 more. So this is 7. Don't let the toes turn up. 6, 5, leg is straight as you can. 4, slow. I know you want to do this faster. 3, squeeze. 2, and 1. Hold just for a second. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and let go. Good. Just bend that knee, bring it in toward your chest. Straighten both legs if you can. Stack one on top of the other. Squeeze in through your belly, a little bit of tuck here, and then take your top arm overhead. I just have to watch the little earbuds, so my head might look a little funny here. And I just want you to stretch one limb away from the other limb. Breathe. Good, release that. Press all the way up. Actually, you can just turn over if you'd like. I need to just press up and turn over so I'm not facing the back of you. And lay over that side. And just pause for a second, right? How does it feel on this side? Really interesting awareness that if you lay on your side when you sleep, chances are you, like me, sleep on the same side every night. And over time, the side that you sleep on, the opposite side, will get shorter and shorter because it drops down toward the bed, right? So then we start skewing those hips. It's kind of cool. This is a new discovery for me. So your knees are bent. I want you to take your top ribs and press down. And then release. And press down. It's a straight down thing, right? It's not flat toward the belly. It's a straight down thing. Press down and release. Good. One more. Press it down, press it down, press it down. And then release. So this time, press down, right? That top hip moves away from you. The bottom leg stays bent. The top leg straightens. And I want you to lift toes toward me or toward whatever you're looking at. And down we go. Let's do 10. So here's 10 and 9. Imagine that you are against the wall. 8. And you can't roll forward. You can't roll back. Your shoulders and your hips are pressing against the wall, right? So that's that straight alignment that we're looking for. This is 4. I am sort of counting. And 3. Keep that hip pressing away. 2 and 1. I want you to hold. Just tone in through the belly, a little bit of a tuck here, and find that. Whoo, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Slowly lower. Straighten both legs and take that top arm overhead. And breathe. You're just stretching one limb away from the other limb, getting a nice stretch here. Good, release that. Press all the way up. One more thing here, and then we're gonna get moving. You're gonna take that same blanket roll, and you're gonna lay on it so that you're laying on the middle of your thighs. Now, you might see that I have this little pool noodle here, right? It's a half of a pool noodle. Go to the dollar store, buy one of these. You can do the same thing with a pool noodle that you can with a big foam roller that costs, 20, 30, 40 bucks. So, and we're gonna play with the blanket here just a little bit. I want you to lay mid-thighs. Bend one knee and release. Bend the other knee, release. Tone through the belly. You can lay flat on your chest if you want, that's okay. So we're just switching sides. And I want you to feel your thighs. Just feel. This might not feel like anything, or it might feel like something, right? It might feel like you're just getting a little bit of massage in the muscles. Good, one more. And then come lower toward your knees, not on your knees, but lower towards, so you're still above. And bend one knee, and then the other. And you can even go quick here, right? I tone the belly because you're in a little plankish sort of thing. So squeeze in. We're just doing a little opening for the front legs. At the same time, we're warming up the hamstrings, right? Good. Scoot up a little bit more. You're right above the kneecaps. And bend. Squeeze your belly. Big deep breath. Good. I know some of you can't bend your knees a bunch. Just do what you can do. Especially if you can't bend the knees, the quads, the thighs get really tight. And then roll down, roll down, roll down, and turn to one side. Now you're below the hip bone, right? Down here, that hip bone, where the femur, the thigh bone comes into your hip socket, you're below that. But you're on this tendon called your iliotibial band, and you will know it, trust me. So your top leg, your other leg can do whatever it wants. It can be wherever it wants to be. And I just want you to rock side to side on the blanket. You probably will feel this. There should be no knee pain, but when this ITB or iliotibial band is tight, it can affect the knees. I've been using the pool noodle and a foam roller to try to soften these babies up a little bit. All right, so scoot down a little, make sure you're supported, and roll a little more. I wish I could see your faces right now because I don't know about you, but this is super tender on me. Oh, good, one more. Scoot. Above the knee, you're above your knee. Ooh, yeah. And release. I could stay there for the whole class. Switch sides, everybody. You start just below your hip bone, right? Side hip bone. And you just rock. I like my other leg in front just so I can help support that. But if you want it behind or straight, it's okay, as long as you feel supported in doing this. You'll go, why is this so important, right? If this is tight, what does it do to the inner thighs? What does it do to the inner hip? All right, scoot down a little. You'll have to tell me after class if you feel this. Breathe. And if you find a really tender spot, one thing that you can do is you can stay on that spot and then bend the bottom knee, right? Hallelujah. Yeah, good. Scoot down just a little more. Make sure you stay above the knee. Usually you're gonna feel your dominant leg a little more tender. Big deep breath. Again, I could be here all class, so I will stop and release it. Holy moly, set your blanket aside for now. We're done with that. And then come to table pose. Your blocks are to the front of your mat. And just get a sense of how your legs feel at the moment. Like, wow, what just happened? All right, table pose. Tone in through the belly, lengthen the tailbone. Press your right leg back. Press in again here. As soon as I put my leg back, I tend to dump my low back a little bit. So I'm going to just draw it into neutral and lift that leg up. Point your toes here and pulse your leg just enough to engage your glute without dropping into your lower back. So there's a strong belly press here so that you don't dump into your low back. Leg is as straight as it can be for you. If your wrists are bothering you, you can come down to your elbows, and do the same thing. Good, press. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold it straight, bend and straighten. Bend and straighten, yep. 3, 2 more, squeeze. And 5, release, bring that leg down. Press back into your heel and release that leg. Over to the left side, same thing, belly tones in, leg lifts. Right away, we check that out. How are the hips? Do they feel pretty level? Point your toes, squeeze in through the low belly and pulse. Yeah, easy to start, right? Find your breath. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Hold, flex your foot, just 5 little hamstring curls. 1, squeeze your belly. 2, 3, 4, and 5. Stretch it out, release it down, and let go. Come on to your bellies. Lower your upper bodies down. Press into your pubic bone and lift one leg. So we just did this in table pose, but now the hips can't rock, right? If you're pressing down through those hip bones, the hips aren't going to rock, so you're not going to dump into your low back. So here we go. 1, 2, point your toes. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Does it feel different? 9, 10. Hold it up and bend for 5, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Good. Release. Go right to your left. Press down through the hip bones. Nice long leg and point the toes and lift. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. If you can, that knee stays lifted. If you can't, don't worry about it. Lower the knee and bend for 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Release. Come to Sphinx Pose. Getting all our floor work done before we get up to standing. And breathe. Now, how does this feel in your body? Because we just did the glute work, and if you were dumping in your lower back, you might feel it a little bit more in the low back. So what I want you to do here in your Sphinx, by the way, if you do feel it, just bring your elbows out a little bit, right? Lessen the curve. Draw the low belly in. I want you to press into the center of your knees and curl your pelvis off the floor until you're partway up. It's almost like doing this really weird half plank. And then slowly lower down, lift your head, your chest. Exhale, squeeze it in, curl it in, hold. If you lift too high, you'll move right out of your belly. And then release and lift. Good, 3 more. Squeeze in, exhaling, hold, breathe, release, inhale. 2 more. That's it. You got this, everybody. Come on. Breathe, breathe, breathe. And release. We got one more. Exhale, squeeze in. Squeeze the belly in, press into your knees. Imagine you're squeezing your block. And release it. Oh, and let go. I want you to bend both knees. Squeeze them in toward your glutes any amount that you can. Hold. And release. Take both hands wide to the outside of your yoga mat and lift up any amount you can. And then lower down. Now, if your back is feeling not at all happy, you don't go high, you just lift a little. You see if you can move your chest off the floor while lengthening your tailbone, right? So where you are is where you are. There's no judgment. There's no good, bad, right? We're just like, whoo, checking out the low back and the back body. One more. Press up and down. Whew. Good. Press into your knees. Come back to table pose. I know, very tempting to come to child's pose there, but I want you to come to table pose. Flip your toes under, come to downward facing dog, and stretch out your back from here. That's it, everybody. Oh, that should feel good. And then walk your hands back toward your feet, bend your knees. Hands come to knees, your chest and head lift first, and then you take it all the way up and stretch it out. So we said earlier about sleeping on one side, and this is really being a revelation to me. I've always had a shorter left side. Well, I sleep on my right side, and so my left side is constantly digging in, right? So hips have always been a little uneven for me, and like all of this is an aha. So I want it to be an aha for you too, if you sleep on one side or the other. So take your right hand and just slide it down your leg. Easy, right? No big pain. Feel the stretch on the opposite side. But what I want you to notice is, where does your hand land? Where does it stop? And just get a sense of it. And then come up and go to the other side. And where does it stop? Is it higher? Is it lower? Is it tighter? Where does it stop? And then come to center. That's all I want you to do. And I want you to notice if one side is tighter than the other side. And then maybe stretch that tighter side a couple extra times, right? Good. And then come up to the front of your mat. Again, your blocks are right there where you can get to them. Inhale, reach up. Exhale all the way down. Soften the knees and step back with your right foot. Make sure your stance is wide enough. Lower your right knee to the floor. Leave your toes flipped under if you can. And then hands close to your body as you lift up. Nice, easy lunge. Nice deep breath here. Front knee, front ankle alignment. You know that. Find your breath. Take your hands to your knee and back off your pose. So I've unflipped my back toes and I've backed off so that I'm at 90-90, right? So imagine in this pose, and we've done this before, but I want you to imagine that this front part of your hip lifts up away from the floor. So feel that immediate stretch. As you lift up the front part of your hip, you lengthen the back part of your hip, you engage your glutes, and you start to engage the hamstrings. Pull back on your front heel and breathe. Pull forward isometrically with your back knee. So both heel and knee are heading toward each other, and feel all kinds of sensation going on. If you can, you release your right hand, take it up to the ceiling, slight side bend. Tone in, make that leg long. And reach up, hands come down to the floor. Lift your right knee, step back to downward facing dog. Stretch it all out. Come to plank pose. Haven't done those in a while. Lower your knees. Elbows to side bodies, lower it down. Lift up a little. How's it feel? If I lift up too high, it's gonna grab my back. So I'm here. It's groovy, it's all right. Good, press up, down dog. Find your breath, everybody. Oh yeah, think happy thoughts. Maybe you're singing a little song in your head. And when you're ready, you're gonna step forward with your right leg. Find your stance, lower your knee, keep your toes flipped for now if you can, and then take the arms up. So initial lunge, right? This is our basic yoga lunge. Whole lot going on, but I think we can do something different. I feel a stretch in my left thigh, but not a bunch. Hands come to your knee, unflip your toes, and back off until your left knee and left hip are pretty lined up. And then again, imagine that your left side hip is moving up away from the floor. It's a tuck of the pelvis. Find your breath. So once you lift up the front of your pelvis, the front of your hip, the tailbone drops down, the glute activates, the hamstring activates. Now pull your front hip back and pull your back knee forward, all isometric. Ooh, yeah. Take the left arm up, take it into a small side bend. Find your breath. And take it up. Both hands come back to the floor. Lift your left knee, step back, downward facing dog. Take the time you need to get there. Come right back to plank. Breathe, lower your knees. Lower your elbows. Tuck in, lift your knees. Elbow plank. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower your knees. Press back into your hands. Lift your knees, downward facing dog. Find your pose. Oh, yeah. And then lower your knees to the floor. And maybe pause for a moment here. Hero pose, child's pose, laying on your side, puppy stretch. All good options when you're looking to just take a moment's break. Shake it out. I want to show you something we're going to do next that we have not done before. So maybe you take a gander at your computer, your phone, or your TV while we're taking this moment's rest, just to see what the heck I'm talking about. So we're going to come to down dog, right? And then we're just going to lean a little bit to the left side. Once we do that, we're going to take our right foot wrong foot. Turn. We're going to take, I'm going to move over just a little. We're going to turn our heels to the left, and then we're going to take our left leg back. It's going to kind of look like this. What we're doing is actually stretching here. So it's a little funky, and I'm too close to the wall. I'll show you on the other side. You're going to turn your heels to the right, and then you're just going to step back with your right foot. And you're going to look for some stretch in the hips or in the side body. Okay, so that's the funky thing we're doing. And you just play, right? We don't want to make this too weird, too hard. All right, so let's find our down dog, everybody. Find your breath. You're going to turn both heels toward the left. Now you might just stay right there. That might be plenty. Or you're going to take your left foot back behind you. I got wall, so I can't go too far. And you're just going to kind of play in there a little bit. How's that feel? In your legs, in your hips. Still feel great. You're going to plant your left hand and lift your right arm over your ear. It's almost like doing a really wide scissor with your legs. And release it. Come back to your normal down dog. Feet or hips width apart. Turn both heels to the right. Take your right leg back behind you. Make sure your right arm is stable. And maybe lift your head or lift your arm. Maybe not. Maybe they're both staying on the floor. And release it. Back to down dog. Lower your knees. And sit back for a second. Shake it out. How do we stretch this stuff? Right? How do we engage all of this? It's very interesting. All right, back to table pose. Back to right foot forward. This time we're bringing our blocks in. And the blocks are at the high setting. So first find your lunge. Ooh, yeah. Feels marvelous. All right. So, you know, when we stretch, it releases endorphins in the body. It's like that runner's high that people get who like to run. So I think that's what happens in yoga and why we feel so good afterward, because we're stretching and we're getting this nice endorphin release all the time. So that's one reason. All right, so your hands are on your blocks this time. I want you to lift your left knee off the floor, scissor your inner thighs toward each other, and then feel that strong core engagement. Hands release from your blocks. This is optional. They come in close to your body, and then as if you were lifting your whole upper body up, you come into a lunge. Nice deep breath here. Now bend your back knee a little bit. For those with some foot issues, if that hurts, don't do it. So we've just taken this almost into a 90 lunge again with the knee lifted so that the front of your left thigh is getting more work. Your muscles are getting more work. Your glutes engaged. Your hamstring is most certainly engaged. And breathe. Release those hands to the blocks and push off to step forward. Switch sides, nice and easy. You're in a high lunge, if that's okay for you. You're gonna scissor your inner thighs toward each other. Your hands release from your blocks, they stay close to your body and lift up. Nice deep breath. And then you're gonna bend your back knee. Think of lifting the front hip, dropping the back tailbone, excuse me, right? Muscles are working. We're getting a big old deep stretch through the front leg, but we're also engaging the back. That's what I want you to think about. Good, release, hands to blocks. Careful, just switch sides. This time I want you to lower your left knee. Excuse me. Take your hands to your knees and stay low. Hands to your right knee, just keep the torso low. And think about your back body. Squeeze your low belly in a little bit and then push off your knee as if your back body was really heavy, and lift to your level. Some of you are gonna even be able to back bend a little, but I want you to be mindful here. And then resist, like I'm pushing down on my knee as I lower my body back down. Push into your knee, lift up, and push again to lower. One more, push, lift up. Exhale, push to lower down. Hands come to blocks, switch sides. Take your time here. I know that I switch quickly and that might not work for you. So just take your time, get your good alignment. So here we are, we're low. Take your hands to your knee and keep your torso low. My elbows are out to the side. It's as if I had to dig my foot into the ground to lift up. So push up against resistance. Feel your back body. And then resist again as you come down. Good, 2 more, push. So we're working back, but we're also working arms and shoulders. Yeah, good. Last one, don't let go, don't let go. Keep pushing, keep pushing, keep pushing. Lift up and push to release down. And then hands to blocks. Step your left leg back. If you can, you're on both knees. So your blocks are in front of you, and I want you to come down to your elbows. And just feel that, right? Maybe a little cat-cow, maybe a little side-to-side shake. Here's the tricky part. Take both hands to your blocks, but stay low. Notice how you can dump in your low back. I want you to squeeze in. From here, I want you to push against the blocks to lift up and just come on up. And then release to push back down. If that was super easy, go low. Go lower with your blocks. Why are we doing this? I want you to feel this work core to lift up and then stretch it and then release it to come down. And notice that if you engage core, you don't need your hands, right, to lift up and down. But yet, what do? We come off of our chair and we use our hands, right, instead of our legs. So we're just lifting up and curling down. Good, 2 more. Lift up and curl down. Take your hands to your blocks. They're on the second level or lower. Flip your toes under, lift your knees. Curl your belly in. Woo! And breathe. Just keep squeezing that belly in with everything you got. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Straight legs, down dog. Walk your hands back to your feet. Bend your knees. I want you to think about this now. Belly squeezes in. You don't need your hands, right? Fire up your legs. Start to curl up. Lift your chest. Come on up. Yay! That's it, that's it, that's it. Move your blocks out of the way. Breathe. All right, so last thing here. I want you to feel on either side of your spine, you have these spinal muscles, paraspinal muscles that go all the way up and down your spine. And they're there to protect your spine, to support your spine, all of that stuff. So I want you to take your feet wide on your mat and just come down part way, any amount. Little tone to the belly, just so you're not dropping in your lower back. Now reach one hand behind and just see if you can feel the muscles on either side of your spine. If you can support yourself, take both hands behind and then round your back a little so that you feel your spine, the bone itself, you feel it pop out. But your fingers are on either side of your spine. And I want you to start to lift your body until you feel the muscles pop up and the spine sink in. It may take you coming all the way up and then everybody stand. Those muscles, you don't want them to be too tight, but you want them to be strong. Because what do? We work core and we round here. We want this to be strong too. And that's just one of the zillion muscles on your back. So come on back to the front of your mat. Inhale, reach up. Exhale all the way down. Tone the belly. Your hands can be on blocks. Soften your knees. Step back with your right leg. Lower your knee to the floor. Think about your back muscles and lift up. Lift up, lift up. Feel those little papa muscles. Take the arms up. Exhale your hands to the floor. Lift your knees, step back, down dog. Breathe. Plank pose. Breathe. Simple sun salutation. We do it all the time. But do we ever think about the back body? Lower your knees. Come on down, little chaturanga, baby chaturanga. Lift up. Think of your back muscles, right? Let your hands go. Think of your back muscles. Maybe the legs rise up a little bit. Breathe. You don't have to go far. I don't have to lift everything up to the ceiling to strengthen my back body. Good. Hands back to the floor, legs back to the floor. Flip your toes under. Push up to down dog. And breathe. Now in down dog, imagine somebody has your hips and are pulling the hips back, but not lifting, lengthening. As if somebody has traction on those hips. Nice. Look forward to your mat. Step forward with your right leg, any way you need to get there. And then push off with your left. Here we are, forward fold. Hands come to front shins. Want you to lift halfway up. Feel that. Lift the rest of the way. Roll it out. We're going to do one more on the other side. And then I think I will have drilled that point home. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, take it down. Open up the shoulders, soften the knees, step back with your left leg. Lower your knee to the floor. Inhale, reach up. Where does the movement come from? How do you feel when you do the movement, right? What's going on with your body? Good. Exhale, hands come down. Lift your knee off the floor, step back, downward facing dog. Plank pose. Breathe. Knees down. Chaturanga, we play with that sometimes. We don't do it a ton. Elbows in, shoulders wide. Come on down. Reach up. Where is your cobra or your sphinx, right? Where is that in your body? If you can, lift the hands off the floor. Lift the feet off the floor. This time, take the arms back, pull the shoulders back, engage the upper back. Breathe. Notice, right? You feel everything, your glutes, your hips, your back muscles, your shoulder muscles. You got this. Release the hands, release the legs, push into your knees, lift up to down dog. And then walk your hands all, oh wait. Yeah, walk your hands all the way back. We don't need to finish that little last part. Bend your knees and come on up. I know. This is awesome. Right? We get into our bodies and we just like, I don't know. We feel everything alive and working. And then we figure out too much, too little, just right. But we take the fear away from moving. That's a big thing, to take the fear away from moving your body and then allow yourself to explore. So for this last little bit, you might want to be near a wall. I would be near a wall if I were you. I'm near a wall, or a dresser or a chair, just something you can put a hand on and still hear me. So you're standing in mountain pose, right? Remember mountain pose on the floor? Right? Strong, 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 even if the arms were up. Nice strong pose. And then shift into your left leg and just set the right toe back behind you. And I want you to think of all the things that we just did to activate the back hamstring, the back glute, the back body. You're toning in through your belly, the front hip is lifted, the back body is engaged, right? So we're working with these front extensors, or these extensors of the front hip. And we're just standing as tall as we can. And with your toe on the floor, if you can, let go of the wall And just take the arms up and breathe. And notice, right? So we're not in the lower back at all. We're just trying to find some balance between the front and the back body. Now, if you can, I just want you to get that toe off the floor. So you have to lean forward a little, find your still spot, breathe, hold, bring the toe down, release your arms, and shake it out. Good, maybe turn around. Finger to the wall, hand to the wall. First get your mountain, and then bring the toe back of your left foot, left big toe. What are we doing? We're lengthening the front hip. We're engaging the back hip. And I just want to think about this. How does this feel? Do my hips feel even? Does the front of my body feel enough engaged? And yet the back body is feeling that same engagement. Lift up through the arms. Find your still spot in front of you. Maybe you lift the toes, toe, maybe not. Feel that glute work, but no low back. Just like we did on the floor. We're lifting the leg, the hip, the glute, not dropping into the lower back. Big deep breath. Lower the toe and release it. Yeah, I know. All right, so big tall mountain pose again. You can have a finger hand to a wall. Find your stability. Shift into your left leg. Raise your right knee. Maybe the hands go under. Maybe the hands go in front. Stand tall. Low belly's toned in. Chest is lifted. Find your balance. And release it. You don't have to bend that deep, by the way. You can be right here. This is just simple balance work. So don't worry about the specifics, how deep, how much. All right, shift again. What are we doing? We're shifting, squeezing, activating, right? Bring the knee up. You're either holding behind or you're holding in front. Lift tall, squeeze in. Find your breath. And let go. Shake it out. When's the last time we all danced? I miss it. I haven't done it in a while. All right, last thing here. Again, hand fingertips to wall or hands to hips or one and one. Stand tall. Good activated glutes, good activated hips. Bring your right toe forward and lift. 1, 2, you can tap down each time. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Lower down. Stand tall. Shift into your right foot. Left toes come out. Belly squeeze. Did the hips stay even? Lift. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep. 6. Keep squeezing. 7, 8, 9, 10, and lower. Your right leg goes out to the side. Now, here's the tricky part. Not hiking this hip every time you raise the leg, okay? So hips are even, flex your foot. 1, you're gonna hold. 2, you're gonna pulse. 1, toes toward the front. 3, 4, you should feel this butt working. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I lost that one. I was already thinking of what was next. Shame, shame. All right, stand tall. This time, I want you to feel this and this, right? So we're not going to raise the hips. That's all going to be solid. But I want you to feel the glute engagement and the belly tone. So actually put your hands there. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. You can tap down after each one. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Woo, yeah. Almost done. Back. So what did we do? We did front, we did side, we're doing back. Okay. And that'll be that. So fingertip to a wall or hands on your hips. Hands on your hips, just more balance work. I don't want you to worry about balance. So if you feel tippy, one hand to the wall, because this is what we're focused on. All right, so step back with your right leg. What do we have to do? Draw this in, engage this. Point your toes. 1, 2, it's small. 3, 4, check the belly. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let go. So hopefully you've noticed the difference here, right? If I'm here, if I want to bring that leg way up, what's got to happen? I'm completely out of this extensor or this glute. What am I doing? I'm leaning forward. I'm dropping into my low back. Blah. Right here, everybody. Here we go. And I put my hands on my belly so that I can feel if I'm starting to dip. All right, here we go. Really, now, here we go. Squeezing your belly. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And let go. Oh, you ever read those or listen to those things where they're telling you what they're going to do forever before they actually do it? Yeah. All right, legs wide, toes pointed out to your comfort level. Big deep hinge of the hips. Before you lower down, I want you to sink those hands into the hips, into the hip creases. Press way back into the hips, lengthen way forward with your torso, and then let the hands come down. And for a change, right, just gonna come here. Instead of hands here where you can round, I want the hands out front. Shoulders are pulled back, so you're staying wide. The weight's in the middle of your feet, but I want you to think torso, and I want you to think length, and not just the front of the body, but the back of the body as well. So we're not rounding, we're not curling, we're keeping as much length as possible here. That's it. Just breathe. Your ears roughly between your arms so you're not lifting or dropping your head. Walk the hands back a little. Walk your feet back to down dog. Shake it out. You might have to turn if you were wide on your mat. And then lower your knees to the floor. And sit back, either nice child's pose here, or hero pose, or neither, just an easy seat as we start to wind it down a little bit. Good. All right, so we're going to come back down to our backs with our legs bent. Our knees bent. So come on down. Snuggle. Breathe. Bring your left knee to your chest. If you're comfortable hamstring wise, you can straighten your right leg all the way to the floor. I want you to try to draw your left knee toward your right side chest without twisting. So it's not going to go far, right? So you're just drawing it toward the right side. hold on to that knee with your left hand, or just keep your knee there with your left hand. Take your right hand and just see if the right heel will come toward the right shoulder, or the left heel will come toward the right shoulder at all, while this stays toward the right. So it's a little bit different stretch. I learned this from a physical therapist, and it just targets this whole area that we've been working, but it targets it a little different than a figure four. Now, your other leg can be bent and on the floor if you want. That'll change it a little bit. And so it's here, right, toward the right, and then your heel toward the right shoulder. Just breathe. And wherever you are in this stretch, just see if you can settle down through the back body. And then release it, bring it back to chest, straighten that leg. And then draw the other knee toward your chest. Here we are again. You're going to draw the right knee toward the left shoulder. And that might be plenty enough. Remember, we're not twisting here, so try to keep the hips toward the floor. Your right hand goes to the outside knee. It's really just a placeholder. And then maybe your left hand goes to your heel or to the outside of your shin, just to angle that a little, excuse me, a little bit more until you feel the stretch. Don't go crazy here. Excuse me. Just feel that nice, sweet stretch. Soften the rest of your body and allow the stretch to happen. Maybe we hold it for 15, 30 seconds. The same physical therapist said to get the most effect from our stretches, we want to hold 30 seconds to 1 minute. So just breathe. That's it. And bring your knee to your chest and let go. Ooh. Bend both knees, both feet to the floor. Your hands are down at your sides, your shoulders are down at the sides. We're going to finish in a way, the way that we started. So I want you to curl the tailbone off the floor. Now curl the sacrum also off the floor. So you're in this nice deep tuck. Your lower back is pressing to the floor. Your shoulders are down to the floor. I kind of like to hold the sides of my mat. Press into your feet. Peel your lower back off the floor and keep the ribs for the most part down. Press into your feet to lift your hips. Lift your ribs off the floor. You're on your shoulders, you're on your feet. Bridge pose. Don't go super high. Again, drag the heels back. Feel the hamstrings engage. Find your breath. That's it. 2 more deep breaths in this pose. Last one. Come out the way you came in. Your upper back comes to the floor. Your ribs come to the floor. Your lower back comes to the floor. Your sacrum, and then it's really just a release of the tailbone. Draw both knees to your chest. Allow the knees to roll to one side, come into a twist. Easy, easy twist, everybody. You can have a block under your knees. You can have a block between your knees. You can go softer, right? You can keep one leg up. Just breathe. Maybe your eyes are closed and maybe you tap into how awesome you feel right now, right? Maybe you feel awesome because the class is almost over, or because you have taken good care of your body. Hardest part is showing up. Good. Release this twist on this side. Make sure your hips are centered or slightly to the side. Bring the knees back toward chest. Twist to the other side. Just pause. Allow this twist to unwind your spine, right? All the work we did with the back body today, we are releasing all of those muscles. We're getting that oxygen, that juice back in. Everything else softens. All right, release there. Come back to center. Draw both knees to your chest. Straighten one leg. And then straighten the other leg. And find Shavasana. Allow your body to soften, to settle, to be at peace. Notice any tension creeping back in. Notice thoughts that are lingering and let them go. Allow yourself to drift in the clouds of Shavasana. Soften even more. For those of you who are ready to come out of Shavasana, start to wiggle your toes and your fingers, take a little deeper breath. For those of you who would like to stay a little longer, just let all of this be background noise, part of your meditation. Those of you ready, go ahead and bend your knees. Draw your knees to your chest. Rock side to side and allow those knees to roll to one side or the other. And then ever so slowly press all the way up. Coming to your seated pose. And bring your hands to your heart. Bow to that sweet inner wisdom that is always there. We just have to open the door and let it in. Namaste.
Namaste.
Namaste.